Call the meeting to order and jump down into public comment. The board takes public comment on issues and concerns not on the regular agenda at this time. A public comment request form must be submitted to the board liaison prior to the time of the meeting is scheduled to begin. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Citizens should speak from the podium, address all comments to the dais, begin by stating their name and address or single-member district number, and limit their remarks to less than 3 minutes. Okay? I'll do public comment now, or I'll wait till we get to the agenda item? Perfect, okay. So we'll jump on down to item 2, consent agenda, and we will consider approving the May 7th, 2025 meeting minutes. And I will entertain a motion to accept and a second.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right. Perfect. We'll jump on down to bullet number 3, the regular agenda, public hearing and comment. First one we have is discuss and consider the fundraising efforts by a local mothers group to replace the playground at Webster Park, the tot lot, and to add shade structures to other city park playgrounds and recommend any related matters.
So let me start with a correction right quick. This caption, we need to take out the part about to replace the playground at Webster Park tot lot. We've got an update on that. So when they first approached us, before we even got a proposal, they had suggested Webster tot lot to place a shade structure. And my first thought was, well, that playground's, we put it in 2003, it's aging. I would really love to replace the playground before we put a brand new shade structure on it. And then we've had follow-up meetings, and then we all went out and checked the playground just to see what the current condition is. And surprisingly, the playground's in decent condition. It really could just use some touch-ups, some kind of a freshen up. So at this point, we're not talking about raising funds for the replacement of the playground. It's really just about shade structures.
Okay, perfect.
So after 2 meetings, we did receive a proposal from the San Angelo Mommy and Me Play Group, who want to lead efforts to raise funds for shade structures at parks, and they'd like to start off at Webster Park as the first location. This proposal aligns very well with the results of our 2020 Parks and Recreation Master Plan, because that shade for parks and playgrounds was the number 2 item, and of course the number 1 item was splash pads. So we'd be a fool not to support this. So yes, we met with this group twice. There's more details in their letter of proposal that was provided in your packet. We also talked about different locations, and we'll show those in a minute, but we think Webster is the place to start. So what is proposed to the board is to approve moving forward with this proposal and seek City Council's support in the form of a resolution authorizing the fundraising, implementing the improvements, and taking on maintenance of the improvements. Quickly, location of the 3 parks, Brentwood Park, this is the loop right here, Webster tot lot, and then Brown Park. Examples of the shade we're talking about: simple structures, metal post, vinyl fabric. And I'm particularly fond of these kinds, but
The shade sales are easy
they are easy.
and relatively inexpensive.
They don't necessarily always cover as much shade. It depends on how you lay them out, but to me, they're more attractive, but we'll be happy with any shade. The funds raised would go to the San Angelo Parks Foundation, and then once we've got enough to do the first shade structure at Webster Park, we'd move those monies over with City Council's approval into a designated revenue expenditure account so that we could spend those monies. Like I said, we would, with our own budget and our own efforts, we could help to refurbish that tot lot, just the playground equipment. quick pictures of the tot lot. It's an aerial view. It's a small park. It's like, what, 0.7 acres? It's, the Mothers Group loves it because it's all fenced in, and you've got a, you know, for young folks, the playground right there. It's well maintained. You've got a walking trail around it. You've got benches and tables, trees. Well, these pictures are just less than a week old, so you can see this old playground still looking pretty good. It does have some fading. You can see on the top of the dome, it's faded quite a bit. But structurally, it's fine. The posts, the decks. What we think we would do is, you see some of these panels, I think there's two. We'll look at replacing those to provide something new. Replace or make the dome look better if we can't replace it, because it is older. It may not be in production anymore.
You said a lot of it was built back in 2003?
This was the first playground project I did when I got here, 2003. And the entire park project was like $26,000. That was for the playground, the wall, the curbing, the fall zone, benches and tables. It doesn't cost that now. Brentwood Park, just right quick, would be nice to do. We just finished that playground. As our last projects we've done, we haven't had the budget for shading, so we've tried to tuck the playgrounds into the shade trees, and the last two, as y'all know, we've incorporated, you know, shade structures on the playground, but not over the playground. So we've attempted to address the shade needs, but not a full shade structure.
Remind me where Brentwood is.
It's off Forest Park and, is that Howard? Yes, Howard.
Okay, north, okay, gotcha.
Howard Street, if you remember,
Oh, okay,
Van Buren.
cool.
yeah. It's a long park. It's got a disc golf course.
Cool.
And this is we redid that park, I don't know, 3 years ago.
It's obviously got sprinklers.
This section does, and you see it's green. It has sprinklers on that section.
It had some nice wildflowers too this spring.
Wildflowers, it's got a walking trail, open areas, disc golf. Pictures on the ground. It doesn't have a play structure, so it'd be a little more difficult to put, what do you put the shade over? And it's a large area. This is Brown Park. That was the last playground we did, right? Mm-hmm. And you see we tucked it in within the trees. So, we'll open up the discussion. Our recommendation is that we move forward, take it to City Council, and see if we can get a resolution supporting their fundraising efforts to raise the funds and then turn it over to the area fund, not the area foundation, Parks Foundation.
Yeah.
I'm used to saying that.
Uh-huh.
Parks Foundation, so that we could do these improvements to the shade structure.
Do you want to start with discussion, or do you want to start with public comment first?
But that's up to you.
Let's do public comment. So we've got three different folks here, Madeline Stucker, Julia Brown, and Kaylee to come and speak. If you guys want to come and talk, you all are welcome to it. Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name's Kaylee Caniglia. I am a member of the San Angelo Mommy and Me Play Group. So it's just a Facebook group that we started a little over a year ago, and we have about 560 members in the group as of like last night, I think 563 or something like that. And so all of us have different age group kids. I personally have a 2-year-old, and I also have a 5-month-old. And so the purpose of the group is we just say, hey, we're meeting up at this park today, like come join us or whatnot. And so we do that a lot. We have a lot of participation. We probably have 3 to 4 meetups a week in different parts of the community. But the problem now that we are going to be running into is just the equipment is so hot. Of course, we live in Texas, and our babies are acclimated to heat as well, but even just like the touching of the slide and stuff like that, it will burn them. And so a group of us moms, we kind of were talking about it the other day, and we said, well, how much would a shade structure really be? Maybe we could help fundraise that. I mean, there's 500 of us strong right now, you know, and then we started kind of thinking bigger on it of like, well, if we did Tot Lot first, Webster, because like Mr. White said, it's fenced in, it's for the small ones, which the group of us, most of us have pretty young little ones because they're not in school yet, so that's why we have all this free time to meet up at the parks and stuff. But yeah, and then it's kind of grown from there, just thinking, you know, how much the city could really benefit from shading some of the parks so that our kids can play a little bit longer, or, you know, at least enjoy later in the morning hours. You know, even in the morning hours, it's pretty hot, but we know it's Texas. So that's kind of our where our idea came from and who we are. Do y'all have any questions for us, or yes?
Have you estimated how much they would cost per shade structure yet? Yeah. Okay.
So the Parks Department is actually working on those numbers. We're trying to get estimates on what it would cost to shade the entire fall zone areas and playground included. And then we're also getting prices on just shading the playground equipment and not the entire area. So we're working on that.
And probably the most recent shade structure in the park system was the one at the, over the picnic area at the splash pad. I think that it's comparable in area, but maybe it needs to be higher. And that was, I believe, was about $20,000.
Cool. So 400 a mom, so nothing crazy there. I'm kidding.
We're gonna have to work with our community partners for sure.
Just kidding. All right, cool.
So are these other parks that we mentioned, were those recommendations from you, or were those staff recommendations?
Just in our discussions, it sounded like after they accomplished one, they would be interested in doing others, and so we try to think about what could be next. I think it's probably best to just let them do the fundraising, do this first one, and then if we want to continue, then have a follow-up discussion.
I'm just curious what other parks y'all frequent, like what your, like your
The
top
list.
10, your.
Yeah, so Webster, we frequent probably the most, tied with Unidad. But Unidad luckily has some shading over with just the trees.
Yes.
Webster has none over the playground, and then, well, but which other
Hey,
park do you
please.
go to the most?
Wait till you,
I feel like those two are the biggest ones. Kids Kingdom a couple times, and then what's the name of the one in Southland?
Okay.
The Southland Park.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Webster Unidad Brown, yes. Okay,
Yes.
awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get any arguments from us on anything against it, so, all right, cool.
For it.
Any other input or discussion you guys wanna visit about?
Hi, I'm Julia. I just wanted to add that it's very, very important, because I mean, I can't even go play with her at 10:30 a.m. at the park because it's just beaming hot. And those one structures, what are they called? The sails, those I feel like would be a really good option, just because they're cheaper. Anything just to really cover the swings and the slides is our main goal, just to protect the kids.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you all for coming.
I like the sales too.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie Stoker. I just barely moved to San Angelo about a month ago, but I am already obsessed with all of just the outdoor life and how wonderful it is that so many parks already available. And so I think this is a fantastic project. And along with being a full-time mom to my 18-month-old boy, I'm also a full-time student at Brigham Young University, Idaho, and I am majoring in marriage and family advocacy, specifically for children advocacy. So this is like my bread and butter. When I heard they're doing this, I'm like, get me there immediately. I want to talk. And so I think a project like this would be absolutely fantastic because the amount of time that kids can be outside will drastically improve every aspect of their being, whether that be physical health, mental health, emotional health. Just being outside is going to help them just grow into the children that they're supposed to be one day. And it's wonderful that a city like this is willing to even help out with the project. So thank you.
Thank you all.
She sounds like a future board member.
Hey, there you go. It's a win-win. Uh-huh. I'm sure Barbara does that when she gets back. All right, well, any other discussion, input, questions?
I think, I sent you Backyard City. Yeah, and that's who we do the shade sales with. They custom make whatever sizes. And so if they're ordered, and then the guys can set the posts, and then all the attachment, all the equipment comes with it.
Yeah, hopefully there's some ways to save money on
And
implementing this.
something like that will be, I mean, to cover this would be a fraction of the price of a hard structure.
Like this other one, right?
Yeah, and they're not vinyl. They're outdoor rated, and they block 95% of the UV, and they last forever. We've put them in a lot of places.
Fire marshal approved.
Yeah, they
That was
are.
our
Well,
issue at the
actually,
splash pad.
Well, there's one, well, two of them that we've done have been at the pizza, Firehouse Pizza.
Firehouse, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
so, but we put them in people's yards, and they last forever.
Well, good. Well, hopefully it's going to be less expensive than we think. But
It's not, yeah,
got a worst case to try to set a goal to raise the money.
right.
How durable are these?
But we are going to do research to see what the price ranges could be.
Okay, and on the website, there's a form, and you just fill it out, you draw it, you measure it, like the sides, how long you want the sides, and if you want it 5 corners or 4 corners, they custom make them,
Okay.
and so,
I'll forward this to you.
How durable are these? How often would they need to be replaced?
My thought, I mean, the fabrics, and you can chime in because we do replace fabric at different locations. It depends on what it is and where it is, but I think the fabric would need to be replaced probably every 6 to 8 years.
something like that.
But the post
10,
would last
maybe 10,
last
10 or
decades.
more, 10 or so, yeah. And that's easy, because the hardware's there, the poster's set, you just swap out the sails. And it adds color. You can pick from
Yes,
any color that you want.
yes. Hence the need to also refurbish the playground, at least spruce it up.
Right.
All right, well, I will entertain a motion to approve or disapprove, and a second from anyone.
I motion to move forward with the fundraising efforts for Webster Park.
Okay,
To specify for the shade
For
structure.
the shade structure.
the shade structures. All right,
I'll second that.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, cool. That's item 2. Jumping down to item 3, discuss and consider the Lake Nasworthy Nature Trail CAP project off Country Club Road and recommend any related matters.
I think the board was asking a question about this, I think at the last meeting, so I wanted to bring it back just to show you, just to remind everybody what the project is and where it's at. This is Lake Nasworthy, as everybody can see. The city does have 2 nature trails. The one that I think most folks know is the one over here. I should have labeled them, but it's off Spillway Road. If you can go get to it from Spillway Road or through Spring Creek Park and come up here. It's just south of what we call the P. This property here that's below the spillway creates a P, so we call that the P. That's where that one is. It's interesting if you look, this aerial, where the darkest areas are, that's where most of the vegetation is, the thickest vegetation. The other one is over here. So these 2 dark vegetated areas are where those nature trails are, which means there's a lot of trees there. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of the older trees, the elm trees, pecan trees, in the last, 10 years. They've slowly have been dying. But there's still a lot of vegetation out there, a lot of mesquite trees. There's still both attractive places to have a nature trail. So the one that you were asking about is this one. It does not officially have a name. My family and I frequented it a lot with our kids. My kids gave it a name. They called it El Suato. I never knew why, but that's what they called it. I don't know that we want that to be the name, but that's the name I know it by. Zooming in, it kind of has a shape like a dog or maybe a pig, if you look at it. I believe this is Goat Island, so you can't really get it out to that unless you have a boat, a kayak, or a canoe. This is South Country Club Road. This is Pecan Creek Pavilion. What is it, Las Lomas? This area here.
Remind me,
Residence-
some of that Boy Scout land? Or,
I didn't show all of that, but basically from this point here where I'm marking north to the residential area is the strip that is, well, I'll go back one.
okay, I was curious.
That is the Boy Scout.
Cool.
It's this area right here. So the city does lease that. It was originally the Girl Scouts had a long-term lease for that property.
Oh.
Somehow the Boy Scouts, now Scouting America, has taken over that lease.
Oh, cool.
And it would be ideal if we get some help from the Scouts troops to help do some trail work out here, but this is that area. There's trails all throughout here. When we had the AmeriCorps group here 6-8 years ago, they GPSed some of the trails. The trails do get overgrown. We really don't have a maintenance plan for them. Occasionally, lake operations will get in there and clear out some of the areas. But it's really just kept up by people's use. This is a little bit dated picture. I couldn't find a newer one on Google Earth because this dock's not there anymore. But this is the access on the northern end. You'll see here in a second a small parking area, and there's a trail that goes down. As you can see, some of the trails start here. They continue here. They go this way. They go that way. It's a pretty cool area. There's the parking area on the north end. Really just 3, maybe 4 vehicles.
Thanks again, ladies.
This is on the south end where Pecan Creek Pavilion is. So this whole area is fenced off. It's rented primarily for the pavilion and also the grounds. This is what it looks like on the ground from the street. And so we're thinking, we could move or add fencing. You could create a parking area right here. This area could become a parking area. I guess it could start off as just caliche to provide access, a trailhead on the south end. Because this is one of the more vegetated areas. So this project is listed on the capital improvement plan. We've talked about it before. We've talked about different projects. Estimated cost is about $250,000, depending on what all we do. It could be less than that. But we'd have to do design work, get all the permits, new parking area, new fencing, trail signs, trailheads. I'd want a new dock and canoe, kayak luncheon area, and of course, trail improvements. Nature trails did show up as number 7 on our desired amenities from the public from our master plan. And number 10 were the large nature areas and preserves. So really at this point, we don't have any recommendation. It's just a discussion. Any comments?
So part of why I wanted to bring this up is I think this was mentioned in one of the very first meetings when I became a board member, or maybe it was just casual conversation with you, but our San Angelo homeschool group utilizes both of the nature preserve areas at least probably once a month. It's a every Friday hike club. And every time we're there, our kids love this one in particular because it has the forts that I think your kids or you helped build. So it's nature play, obviously. It's a big natural playground. And then it also just has a little bit of structure that provides great grounds for imaginative play. But every time we come, I mean, there could be 10 to 20 vehicles that are parked along that very narrow country club road. And so, every time I'm there, I'm like, oh, it would just be really nice if we could utilize some of that Pecan Creek Pavilion area for a parking lot. So I just think about it very often, and I mean, that's the only improvement that I have really thought about, not knowing that there was some additional things there. But just somehow creating a larger parking area that's, like a permeable surface, like doesn't have to be fancy by any means. Calici's just fine. And then just, a gate, something. I know you have to keep the pavilion area, separated. So it may require additional fencing, but, just that open trailhead on that side, I think it may help that part get more utilized. I mean, maybe not just by our group, but by others if there was more parking. And then, another just like topic for discussion, we talk about this more when we're at the other location, we call it the nature preserve. If we're, like our meetup, we called this the Fort Trail. We called that one the nature preserve. If we're like on our group me, it's nature preserve meetup, and then this is Country Club Road Fort Trail. We've thought, how neat would it be to have like an outdoor classroom structure at that one? Some sort of, little pavilion with seating.
At this one.
Mm-hmm, yes. I don't know, since it's a discussion, or, where it's open for discussion, I thought I'd mention that too. We tend to linger there as well. The kids enjoy that one as also. Anyway, I feel like those are two of our most popular parks for, we do a lot of nature learning also when we're there. So just from a use perspective, just things to think about or potentially add to our plan. Our group in particular, hasn't discussed canoe and kayaking, but I could see potential for like replacing that dock would be nice. Like the kids could fish again or just access the water. We don't really go for the water access there as it currently stands because of the vegetation probably, and just the forts seem to be the attraction.
Yeah, we would kayak here because it's kind of off the main drag area. You don't have the skiers and all. You just have fisher.
Right. You wouldn't have as
anglers
much
out there.
wake. Mm-hmm.
So this area is a pretty good area to kayak. I agree with you. The question is priorities and where do we focus on? It would be great if we could get some scout groups working to do some projects. I think we could keep it more simple.
Yeah.
But the parking lot will take some.
I even think, some of our kids in our homeschool group are of the age of wanting to do community service type projects. I think there could be potential there for getting some organizations to, our particular group isn't
Certainly.
quite what that Mommy and Me group is, but.
There's certainly an Eagle Scout project. Certainly.
I think any of what we talked about could be a smaller project for scouts or service group. The parking lot would probably need to work with Public Works to make that happen, and the fencing work. But look up into the camera and ask for community groups to come forward. I agree. We'd love to go out there.
Is that, that cutout area to the right of it, that looks like it's cut out,
Here, or
down to the right. Is that like a high line that runs through there?
Right here?
Power line?
yes, there's power line
Okay. I just-
here, and there's another smaller one that cuts across this way.
I mean, how much do we think just the parking area of that project would
If it's
cost?
just caliche and if we could get the labor for free, you're probably looking less, maybe 5,000 for materials. And then the fencing's gonna be,
The most expensive?
yeah, probably 10, 15, depending how long it is. Mario's smart enough not to quote anything on camera.
So I was like trying to go for a ballpark thing on that shade structure, and I was like, he's got a plan. I'll stay quiet.
Yeah, I mean, so the parking lot would be the most costly.
Like feasible, I mean, that's not, that's not 250.
Right. Well, if you want to give us any discussion or direction,
Good things.
And for the record, was there any public comment?
The gals had signed up that they were going to talk on it, but they snuck out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How, I mean, I know we're not working with tons of, I know our funds are limited, but if it was something that was already on the city capital improvement plan, does that, like, can that be considered in a budget year? Like,
the
To be
CIP
like a-
process is separated from the actual funding process.
okay,
So council can approve projects knowing that these are things that are, that staff thinks need to happen or that the public has a
ask,
strong desire to have, has asked for. But the discussion of budgeting comes separate.
okay,
In this particular project, I don't think actually would rise to the level of council discussion to fund, unless somebody approached them and asked them to.
okay.
But in this case, our approach probably should be for maybe, if anybody's interested on the board, to meet with us, to talk about, how can we make this a more simple, cost-effective project,
Right,
and just strategize about that,
okay,
separate from the board meeting.
okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. Y'all were just looking for input, not like a motion to recommend.
Yeah, it wasn't,
We move forward with 250,000 to the city council. Okay, just making sure. Okay.
How much parking area are you talking about?
yeah, that's a good question. I'm thinking at least 10 or 12, but probably looking more like 20, just to make sure we have enough. And again, this would just be caliche, so it wouldn't be lined or anything, but if I could look at it here,
How do
pretty
people,
much just like this rectangle here.
like, if there's a big event at Pecan Creek, where do people park? Or how does-
All over,
Just
but
on the ground?
I rarely see people parking this far over. I mean, I don't know if y'all have. There'll be people parking everywhere, but even on this
I mean,
side.
does it even have to be, I mean, just open change the fence line.
Yeah, that's an approach.
It could be that,
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, you
If
just,
the fence is still good, you could shift that over, and then
Yes.
you would have to just add a piece here.
yes, and then if there, wherever the fence is that borders the trail area, just put a gate there or open it up.
I think it's a
and not
pasture,
put a-
maybe a pasture fence right now.
I mean, I don't even know that you have to put the caliche down. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a country girl,
Just-
so.
If we make it public, we probably do have to have some accessible parking.
Yes, that's true.
Use a 1/4-inch limestone instead of commercial base.
She knows all the specifics.
Because it locks in and it doesn't make a muddy mess, just in case it gets muddy in it, you won't get the ruts.
Well, I think that's why we need to have a separate meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you for putting it on the agenda.
You're welcome.
All right, next item. We got just hear and discuss updates on key activities, projects, programs, and events from the Parks and Recreation divisions.
Don't have any recreation updates. Jesse's a little shorthanded this week, so he's dealing with other stuff.
Swim lessons, I know I was gonna ask y'all about swim lessons, but I'll just reach out to Jesse on
Okay.
on all that stuff.
Not a whole lot of update from parks. I think I gave the same update last time I was here. We've been blessed with rain, so parks are being mowed and parks are getting tall, so the complaints will come, but we're happy to deal with those opposed to the alternative, so. We are still hiring. We've got 9 positions still currently open. So I'm reaching out to the public and I'm looking at that camera and hopefully there's a few of the 50 people listening that would like to apply to help with public service. So we have been working on the PO and contract for the Civic League entryway sign, and I think we're in a good position finally. We are continuing to work on the irrigation upgrades on North River Drive, which is near Central High School. That irrigation system has not been viable for at least the last 16 years that I've been with the city. And so we have some very knowledgeable staff that are down there working hard and getting that thing up and going. We're getting close. And just normal maintenance. Y'all got any questions for me? Concerns, complaints?
The robot mowers still working good?
They're still going strong. We didn't put them out the other day because it was raining, but
Cool.
we also got a robot line painter, if y'all don't remember that also.
Oh, the complex?
Yep,
Nice.
we're changing with the times.
Yeah, gotta adapt or die, right?
Yep, that's right.
All right, cool. Questions from anybody on that? All right, next agenda item, consider future agenda items. Concho Mail Station, I mean, we can always, I'm kidding, we don't have to. You always give me an update on that, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know that we have any items now that we need to say, yes, we'll have it next month, but I'm sure we'll have some items come up.
I can give just a quick update on the parks, the San Angelo Parks Foundation. We were able to raise $450 from the San Angelo Gives, so that was a pretty good deal. We'll probably be having that foundation meeting here in the next couple weeks, next couple months. So anybody else that wants to help out with that, happy to take them in. But we're good. Life is good. Thanks, guys. Anything else?
That's it. Next meeting is July 2.
July 2nd, okay. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn in a second. Okay,
Go ahead. I'll second that. I'll
okay.
second the
All those in
motion.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, thank you, guys. Easy enough.